Okay, now for those that want to use some salt pork with their cornbread sandwich, well, they call it sandwich, then this is how it looks once it's fried up. And it's very tasty, and because it was boiled, it's not that salty, but very, very tasty. Now, what you see in the pot now are frozen collards. These are some that I bought days ago, put them in the freezer, and so now I have them in the pot cooking with the chicken broth and the beef broth. And this can be used when you're not a meat eater, but for the cornbread sandwich with the collards, tomatoes, and onions, I'm using this to show you that it can be cooked with meat and without meat, and they're just as good. So I'm now putting the top on so that it can help to thaw the collards faster and then begin to start cooking. So it'll be a few minutes before they're ready to begin to start the cooking, and I can add the seasoning. Now, as you see, the collards are boiling really good, and I've already checked the seasoning with the salt, with the chicken and beef broth, and they give a very good taste, but they need just a little bit more, and I'm not putting a whole lot more salt in there, just a tiny bit more salt to enhance it a little bit more, and then that can be added to the greens once it's completed cooking. So we're still working to complete the cooking of the collards with the chicken broth and the beef broth. Now for my cornbread, I have about 4 cups of cornmeal. Now I always use self-rising. My mother used self-rising. My great-grandmother my grandmother and great-grandmother used self-rising flour, self-rising cornmeal. The only thing I add to that is flour. And then I've added my eggs, buttermilk to the mix, and I'm mixing it up. And the hot water is going to burst those little kernels of. Now what I will be doing here is adding some hot, Smart Balance oil once the oil is added to it and it's hot. Now I want to show you my pans. Are over 45 years old. I don't know if this is what makes the difference in cooking my bread, and I will be doing my fried collards in this pan. But in this pan here, they're over 45 years old. Look at the edge of it. I want you to see that edge really good. The pan is still hot. But see, this pan has something like crust all around it, whereas over the years, it has gathered a certain type of formation from cooking, as well as this pan here, this like crust that's on the outside of it. It's very seldom would anyone ever clean the outside of the pan, but always the inside, and wipe off the outside if anything took place. So this may be the secret to how my cornbread become like sandwich bread, whereas you can cut it like a cake. For those that like to have some grease in their collards, a little taste of some salty meat, this is how you fry collards. You take some of the oil from the fried salt pork. Put it in a pan. Get a fork. Pull some of the colors out of the boiled colors over into the frying pan. So as you're cutting it and your heat is on, you have them in much smaller areas, much smaller pieces. And once they start sizzling, then what is going to happen is that oil from the salt pork is going to get into the colors. Now if you like also, you could probably take some of that salt pork and put it over into your collards if you want to have meat there. But let's just give it a moment and then it'll start frying. You're going to see now that the liquid has cooked all out and it's ready for the cornbread sandwich with the collards, tomatoes, and onions. Now the pan is hot, and I have poured half of the cornmeal mixture in the pan, and I'm getting ready to put it in the oven. That almost 4 cups is sufficient enough for me to make about 2 of these cornbreads for the sandwich. So here's the cornbread that has come out of the oven, and you can see it just comes right out. It easily just comes right out. There's no have to struggle to move the sides or anything, but it comes right out. So what I'll be doing is taking it out, and I will be adding some margarine on top of the Kroger butter. So we're going to use the unsalted Kroger butter that's going to go on the top of it first. Then we're going to take it, and it's flipped over into a plate. Now what we're going to do is cut it just like we were cutting a cake, and this is how it opens up. So in this, between the bread, let's see if we can get that. After I cut it, see, it's opened up. It opened up just like that. So what we're going to do is put butter between it. So we have the butter that we're getting ready to put on it. And the top has been laid off to the side. Now this is awesome for just eating it while it's hot. So what we're going to do is let that melt, and then once that melts, then we're going to put the ingredients in it. So here we are, we're ready to put together our sandwich. So we're going to take the collards and we're going to put them on the cornbread. And we're going to spread them out. It's like an all-in-one meal. Then we have our tomato that we'll be putting there. Tomatoes and onions make chow chow, and this is what you can buy in the grocery store. and you can use it instead of the tomatoes and onions. But there are several things that my mother did and things that I have been doing all of my life, as well as my children, and that is, even with that, even though that's tomatoes, we've always added one other ingredient, and I'm just only going to put this on one side. And all of my children enjoy ketchup. Now, anyone that does not like the ketchup, the onions, or the lettuce, anyone that does not like the ketchup, the onions, and the tomatoes, they can take it off. So this is how we look. And now we're going to cut it. And this will serve 4. And this is how it looks. And I am getting ready to have me a slice or 2. And I will be adding some salt pork for the meat to enjoy it. And this is my cornbread sandwich bread. My cornbread always come out where it can be sliced and filled with anything, but I enjoy this cornbread that has a special mix that if you don't whip it right, you got to know how to whip your cornbread right in order to put it together and have it come out. And whipping is simply this. My mother always said, if you can't whip it, if you don't whip it, it's not going to be the best cornbread forever. This is called whipping the bread. This is whipping the cornbread, so it can become whatever it is you want it to become. Whip it. That's whipping the mix. And that is what results with my cornbread and collard green sandwich. Thank you for watching.